Hello everybody, it's your old pal Tuna here and welcome back to another video. Today, I do not have a studio vlog for you. Instead, we are going to be taking a look through one of my recent sketchbooks. I decided to select this one. It is the sketchbook that I completed the most recently, so not my current sketchbook, but the last one that I finished, and it is from November 2022 to April 2023. It's been a long time since I did a sketchbook tour directly on my channel here. I do them monthly for my patrons over on Patreon. I do an in-depth explanation of all the pages, but today we're gonna go start to finish and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about how I use my sketchbook, why I like my sketchbook, what I use in my sketchbook, and more. Let's take a look, shall we? So I suppose to start things off, I'll introduce you to what kind of sketchbook I'm using. This is a Moleskine classic sketchbook, 8.5 by 5.5 inches. I have been using this sketchbook variety for like almost 10 years. And the main reason that I do that is because they all look very, very nice lined up on a shelf together. I write the dates on the spine as you saw in the opening. And yeah, it just scratches the itch for something satisfying. I have deviated a couple of times in the past, and I do have a few waiting in the wings that are a different variety, but for the most part, that is what I use. I go through about 2 sketchbooks a year, maybe 3 if I've done a lot of sketching that year. I find that this is a good pace for me. I do try to be very intentional in using my sketchbook. It's sometimes easy to fall back on not sketching, not doing concept work, or just doing it digitally, but it's important to me to have these sketchbooks to look back on, so I do aim to complete about 2 a year. Now, on that note, my sketchbook philosophy. So, as you can kind of tell already, I basically use my sketchbook for anything and everything. There is no wrong thing to do in my sketchbook. I will collage, throwing in bits and pieces from my travel. I will do paintings. I will do really loose and fast sketches. I will take notes. I will really, anything that I need is fair game in my sketchbook. And this is like how I feel works the best for me. I'm not here to tell you how you should or shouldn't use your sketchbook, but at the end of the day, if you're afraid of using your sketchbook, that's the only thing you want to avoid, and that's why making it like a safe space for me where I can draw anything that I want is the best way to go. So let's talk about the materials that I use in my sketchbook. The black pen that you can see that is the bulk of the drawings is a Pentel Hybrid Technica and a Pilot G-Tech C4, I believe it is. And you might notice that that's what I use in my sketchbook. I do not use pencil really to sketch in my sketchbook. I haven't for quite some years now. And the reason for that is that I wanted to develop better confidence in my mark making skills and make it so that I wasn't getting caught up in erasing and perfecting, because a lot of the sketching that I do in my sketchbook is more conceptual. And it's very helpful to be able to work relatively quickly, especially as someone who has worked in comics. Obviously, you're getting paid a page rate, so you want to be able to work as fast as possible. And practicing with pen has made it so that I'm a lot more confident in the work that I'm making right at the get-go. You'll also notice that these blue pens, that is a Le Pen, which I've kind of deviated away from recently. I'm not really sure why, but that's what I was using for the blue and some of the other colored inks. And then the paintings that you've seen, those are completed in acrylic gouache, which is an okay medium to use in this sketchbook. The pages hold up okay, but it's not as good as using a watercolor paper or the gessoed wood panels that I usually use. You also might notice some Copic marker here and there. And yeah, that should be just about it. If I was using pencil, it would just be a regular mechanical pencil, like you can see there. And maybe Sharpies for thicker lines. I don't know. I use basically anything I can get my hands on. Again, no rules. And yeah, I have a lot of art supplies, so they find their way into my sketchbook here and there. Now to get into the types of things that I draw in my sketchbook, obviously you've had a little bit of a chance to see them now as we've been flipping. I have a few categories of stuff that tends to come up over and over again, and I would say that these are my defaults to what I draw in my sketchbook. The first thing is concept pages. So these are for either my monthly Patreon themes. Every month on Patreon I do a set of drawings and products that are based on a theme, so I'll do a lot of concepting, coming up with ideas here in my sketchbook for those, just kind of free form, like write down the name of the prompt and go for it. And as well, I do that for projects when I'm designing merchandise or coming up with a new painting or drawing or something like that. I also do a lot of live sketching. That's what these birds are. Or you can do those all over the place. I usually like to do animals, and the aquarium, which is what you saw at the very start of the book, is my favorite place to do so. The birds were moving very quickly, and it was really challenging to do them. Same with the bunnies, but hence you can see why I've drawn a lot that are sitting still. But I really like it. I think it's a really good challenge. You work very, very fast, like just a couple of seconds per drawing. And it's a lot of fun. It helps me really clear my mind doing those sorts of studies because they don't require me to do anything other than look and translate. And it's the same with the paintings you saw earlier. Some of those were from Life, the cookies and the spread at the beach. Those were Life paintings, and then the mushrooms one were from a reference that I had in a book. I really like photo studies. I think that they're underrated personally, and if you are looking to improve, that's a great thing you can do in your sketchbook that isn't just mindless doodling. It's something really intentional that will help you learn new skills. You'll also may have noticed that I did some concepting for a science fiction series. That is a webcomic that is in development. That's gonna happen. I just haven't really had time to see it through this year like I thought that I would, but while I was doing this sketchbook, it was my intention to follow through. So this is a great place for me to do concept work based on references that I've kind of studied on Pinterest and online and from other comics that I like, and then bringing them together to design characters and whatnot here in my sketchbook. And you just saw as well my last category, or my second to last category, which is my day/travel diaries. I love to do these. This is something I started not too long ago, where probably about last year, if I'm traveling to a new place, I will do a sketchbook page per day at the place that I'm traveling, and it'll be a collage of memories and stuff that I saw, stuff that I ate, things like that. And it's a wonderful way to preserve and journal a trip without having to use words. I don't really like words. I like pictures a lot more. So that's one of my favorite things to do lately. Here we are entering the Montreal pages that I did. And the last thing is outfit of the days. Always easy for me to do a quick sketch of myself peppered in there. That's like my default if I have absolutely no idea what to draw. I'm like, I know what I look like, I know how to stylize myself, and I know what I'm wearing. So that'll be what I do. The last point that I wanted to bring up is what to do when you have drawings in your sketchbook that you just cannot stand to look at. I would say that becoming comfortable with your ugliest work is a really important part of being an illustrator, because I know that ego is a huge part of drawing and it is personal expression, but if you are sharing your work with the world and you want to get better, you do have to kind of divorce that fear of failure from the process. But if you really, really don't like something that you drew, I do recommend taking a piece of paper, gluing or taping it over top of the part of the drawing that you don't like, and then redrawing over top of it better, or however you like it. That's especially if you're not using pencil like me. And at very, very desperate times, I'll take the opportunity to just stick a sticker or some sort of collaged item on top of the dreaded terrible drawing. And that's going to take us to the end of the sketchbook flip through. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that you learned something and that you enjoyed taking a look at my sketchbook. If you did, leave me a comment with your favorite sketch that you saw in this video. Be sure to subscribe for more content, always coming in the future, and like because the algorithm needs you to. Stay sparkly, Don't let the cruel world dull your shine, and I will see you next time.